My brother and I are twins, which means we share a birthday, but we actually couldn't be more different. From the moment we were born, we have had very different personalities. Even as babies, when we started to crawl,
I would be off exploring the room, discovering the world around me.
whereas I would be perfectly happy to crawl straight to my mum where I knew I was safe in my own protected space. At Christmas, when we would go to visit Santa,
I would be the one with 1,000 questions, asking things like, how do you travel around the world so far, Santa? Intent on finding out the answers.
whereas I would just sit there, excited to hear the answers, but too afraid to speak and ask a question of my own, as I was always too caught up in a web of nervousness.
At school, I was never afraid to talk to the teachers, always asking them questions whenever a question would arise.
But I would go unnoticed, never asking any questions, just quietly doing what I was told to do, hoping that a problem wouldn't force me to be brave and ask a question.
I would always be able to talk to strangers when we were kids, quite happy to do things like order food at a restaurant.
But I would never know what to say, scared that I would say the wrong thing, and so I'd always want my mum to speak for me, choosing to stay quiet. Playing together as children,
I would always be the leader, whether that was whilst playing a game of cards or during imaginary games.
I was happy to follow him, playing along with the game, although I did manage to voice my own opinion some of the time. As a child, I was always told to talk louder, speak up, that I couldn't be heard because of how quietly I was talking.
But I was never told to be quieter, as children are always encouraged to be confident and to speak up. I was always the more popular one at school, because I found it easier to make friends, always able to have a good group of friends around me.
Whereas for me, I found it harder to make friends, and so I was happy with my one or two best friends. However, my shyness has meant that I have created some meaningful friendships which will hopefully last a lifetime, as finding it hard to make friends makes for a more valued friendship, because they are hard to find but lucky to have. I am quite a thoughtful person, as my shyness has made me more cautious, able to think before I speak, carefully choosing my words as to not upset anyone around me. Truthfully, I'm actually not too shy once you get to know me. I am able to come out of my shell and be more comfortable around people that I've gotten to know well. Going to a different secondary school than my brother meant that I had to learn how to be more independent. I was suddenly on my own, having been in school together since the age of 4. I learnt how to fend for myself, without there always being someone beside me. Going to dance classes and performing in shows since the age of 3 has meant my shyness has never held me back from performing, as dancing on a stage is something I've always known. My shyness has shown me that I am able to overcome difficulties in life, as I do see myself slowly improving as I get older. Maybe the reason I never truly outgrew my shyness as a child was because I always had my twin brother there beside me, to be compared to, but also to lean on rather than learning to be more independent. But I don't see my shyness as a bad thing necessarily. It's part of who I am and what makes me, me.